It's another thing worth watching.
That's wrong, so people can see what was going.
Yeah.
I'll call the meeting to order. I'll call the meeting to order. We've had our Board of Assessors meeting and this is the Select Board agenda. The next thing on the agenda is to approve the minutes of our last meeting, February 4th.
I have actually couldn't be here tonight, but he sent an email asking for some things to be amended. So if you'd like to read that for you. I know it didn't go to the whole board, so I'll skip the part where he's not going to be at the meeting. Under Chuck Cohen's presentation, there was an agreement that the town would post the RFP to the MMA website and manage the receiving and opening of the bids. It is posted on there and on the town website. Under Tony's presentation, there was a discussion of discontinuation of collection of demo, construction debris, and recycling in the next fiscal year in an effort to save these costs for property taxpayers. Additionally, there was a discussion of purchasing a scale to allow continued collection of these items, but by charging the appropriate prices based on the weights. Tony agreed to get back to us with pricing of such equipment. He asked that be put on here, and that's signed Kent Ackley.
I make a motion, we approve. Oh, did you had some? Yes,
Yeah,
sorry.
Under the Select Board reports, it said Mr. Ludwig inquired about the appraisal for Wilson Pond. To be more specific, I think it was about the parking area.
Yes.
The appraisal for that.
Yeah, that would be true. Yeah.
So that should be maybe.
We can clarify that.
Yeah. Okay. And you wanted to make a motion to?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes with the amendments. I'll second that.
So motion by Chris and a second by Kayla to approve the minutes of February 4th with the amendments. All those in favor?
I vote yes.
Thank you. I should say, some things I left out. Can't be here because he has an island meeting. Something to do with, I guess, the Anabescook Island. And Mark is there on screen. And while I'm thinking of it, Mark's father recently died. He was one of our first police officers in town. And I think he worked all his life at Tex Tech through the different names that it had. If I'm correct, is that right?
Absolutely correct. He worked at Tex Tech for 44 years. It was Globe Albany, Albany International, and the last 6 or 7 years before he retired, he was the custodian at the Cottrell School as well as working at the mill. So yes, thank you for recognizing that. And everything is going okay. My mom's doing okay, and it's okay. Thank you.
Welcome. Your brother's okay?
He's doing well.
All right, on to the public hearing for the State of Maine CDBG program for public infrastructure. It's the North Monmouth Public Water. And did you?
Oh, he's right there. He's right behind Tony. I knew he was here, but
So the Water Association, the town granted us money a number of years ago, has been pursuing funding to do the water expansion to North Monmouth. CDBG is one of the pieces, the last piece that we finalized the proposed funding. We actually signed the contract with the engineering firm for the design phase this week. And we have our kickoff meeting next week for them to start the design phase. We could potentially, knock on wood, break ground this fall.
Nice.
Any questions about the North Monmouth project?
Yeah, what is it?
It is expanding public water into North Monmouth. They have some water contamination. The town put up $100,000 to start the process. That's the only thing the town has had to put into it. We have congressional money. We have Tex Tech has actually financially have several grants.
And the town's the only one that can apply for the CDBG money on their behalf because they're a quasi-public entity, so we have to do it for them
For now,
for now.
So how is, at this point, how far along are you in the process?
as I said, we signed the contract with the engineering firm to the final design phase.
Oh,
So they're starting to collect information. Monies that the town had provided were used to do not just the original engineering phase, but also the next 2 rounds of the surveying that you can see done.
Any other questions? Joel? Okay, on to, a public hearing for the solid waste ordinance.
I make a motion, we close the public hearing on the State of Maine CDBG program for the North Monmouth Water Project. I'll second that.
So the motion by Chris and a second by Kayla to close the, public hearing for the CDBG program for North Monmouth. All those in favor?
Yes,
Thank you. Then next is the solid waste ordinance public hearing.
So this is a continuation from last year. We had, this had been brought forward by the last code enforcement officer and the board was interested in it. We had the public hearing. There were some changes that were suggested, such as the fine language and things like that. So we took those comments back to the town's attorney. And this is a new draft. Last year, it basically just wasn't put on the warrant because the concerns were brought up so late in the process. We didn't have time to make the changes before you approved the warrant to go to the voters. So I've just been sitting in my desk for a year. So I'm bringing it back we have to do a public hearing on it in order for you to include it on the next warrant because of our closed ballot process.
I actually have concerns about the violations. I don't really feel like it's fair to the public to have the fine be instant. I think that the first instance should be a warning. And then I feel like $200 is a steep fine for not having a garbage can. Especially because, garbage cans aren't cheap. It's $30 for the type that we're requiring people to have. And depending on how much garbage they have, they might have to buy multiple. So that's my thoughts on it. I definitely feel like the first time should just be a warning. And then after that, maybe the fine should be lowered.
And you can set the fine at any amount that you want. And the town does not have any authority to actually issue that fine unless the code officer takes the homeowner to court. So the idea is that the reason why they kind of get set high is because if it's bad enough that the elected officials feel that you want to authorize the code officer and the town manager to engage an attorney to get to court, we're going to spend significantly more than the 200 to get that fine even levied on the homeowner. But you can set that to any number you want. To a maximum, I think, is 500, something like that. But you could make it lower, certainly.
We could make it a warning and then
Yep.
fine.
Yeah, any way you want that to work.
We'll do that.
Yeah.
If
And I think we had talked about that because this is the third time that we've seen this. So we've looked at this 3 times and we've had many discussions about it. And
Yeah, it was my first time seeing it.
yes,
I feel like especially the way it is, like, it's kind of prohibitive for a lot of people.
Do you have a number that you would like to change that to after the first?
thoughts? 50.
Yeah, I think 50 for the first offense after the warning, and then, if there's multiple, maybe it's could be something that's staggered.
Is this modeled after any other towns?
Yes, it's kind of standard language. The attorney kind of took the one that I had put together from just grabbing. Some of these are much more complicated because towns that have curbside pickup have a lot more rules about, you can't just throw trash on the sidewalk and leave it there for a week when you're on vacation. So So I tried to kind of dumb it down to something. This was really just to, right now, the town has no authority to do anything to somebody that would just take their refuse and throw it out their front door and just leave it all over their yard, so then the raccoons or whatever spread it into their neighbors' properties. I would guess that this would be used very seldom, but when it would be worthwhile to get somebody to take care of their trash.
This is a public hearing, so if anyone has any comments on this.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna worry about people having trash cans, but you can have cars on blocks with no doors on it.
Well, technically, there's a state law about junkyards. If you have too many cars that are unregistered,
Right,
there's a separate process for that.
I get it, but you could have one in your driveway and that's still gonna be okay, but we're gonna worry about trash cans.
That's how the state law works.
Is there a big problem with
Yeah.
trash?
There are a couple of homes in town that we have received numerous complaints about, and the town can't do anything to them except go over there and say, can you pick this up? And they just don't.
Right.
But, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
I can guarantee you that nobody, the code officer, nor I, or anybody else is going to be driving around and making sure that you have trash cans, unless you have a problem with your neighbors saying that, their litter is being strewn all over somebody else's property. We don't have time for that type of stuff.
There are some businesses that have had problems with it, particularly around 202, where it's gotten piled up on the dumpster and it's strewn around a bit.
Yeah, let's say I agree to a point about economy and it's like people. I also know when we go to restaurants that meal and beverage, it's $40-50, whatever. So it's still mind boggling to me at the same time, but anyway, the realities are what they are. So maybe not 200, but maybe not 50. It's kind of a meal at a restaurant. Maybe something a little more with this thing to it to start with, just my thought.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be open to a little higher, just the 200 definitely seems,
Right.
it seems, in my opinion, like a poverty tax. Like if you can't afford a trash can and then you're charged $200, I mean, what are the odds you can pay that?
That's kicking you while you're down.
You want to do 100?
Sure.
That's fine. I think the important thing is that we have something, because right now we don't have anything and there's nothing we can do about it when we do have complaints. So having something is the important part. That's the main reason we did this in the first place, is that so when there were complaints, we had something on the books that was able to be used, so.
Dave?
I'm sure, I'm sure that the codes officer is gonna give them a verbal warning. Look, you have next week, clean it up. And he's gonna come back, and if it's not cleaned up, then he might even give them a second time, depending on what they said. So you're getting it after 3 or 4 times is when it's coming to you. It's not, but it's the first official on paper violation, because no codes officer wants to do the official on paper because he knows the end result is going to court. None of us ever wanted to go to court. So, the $200 is probably pretty fair when you think about how many times the official has already been there and you're just getting it now, after the fact that this guy is not going to pick up the tires. He's not going to bring them to the transfer station. He's not going to clean up the siding that blew off his house. All this stuff that is a normal will fall under this, not just the garbage can cover. There's a lot else. In the wintertime, they throw the garbage bags out the back door. And then the neighbor gets rats. This is ongoing year after year after year. So just be advised that the $200 is not a real sting after all of that. I understand where you're coming from, but you don't know the process to get to this point. It is long and
It's a real paper.
you can do whatever you want. I mean, that's totally up to you, but I'm just telling you from experience.
Yeah, I mean, I get that that's one person, but we're hoping more people eventually move to Monmouth. You know, we want to keep growing the town. That's why I feel more comfortable having the first official one being a warning, and then after that, 100. Just because while one person's a problem, we don't want everyone to be targeted because of that one person.
90% of them will clean up after the first verbal. Get that through. You're talking a very small percentage.
What are you thinking, Mark?
I have no problem leaving it at 200. I totally agree with Dave. I mean, they're going to get multiple warnings about this. We're paying the code enforcement guy to go out there several times. If you know, if after a couple warnings they can't do this, then we've got to make it an amount that's going to make them pay attention and take care of the problem. So I have no problem leaving it at 200, but I'm only one voice.
I'm just assuming you wouldn't get $200 anyways. And it's like, just maybe just more of a deterrent than anything.
So what's the, I want to keep it at 100.
I mean, we had come up with 200 after multiple discussions and we had landed on that for that. And I mean, I'm fine with 200 because I'm right there with Dave saying, yeah, there's a lot of work that's going to go into it before that. So I'm fine with 200 because this is going to be few and far between, you know, it's not going to be, yes. I mean, there might be people that have complaints. I mean, I've encountered it too. And, you know, people are putting giant bags of pellets in their outdoor pellet stove burner, and then their bags are all blowing into my dooryard because they never take them to the transfer station. So, you know, I mean, and then you just go over and say, hey.
You're talking about your sister?
No, not talking about this. They don't have a pellet stove, but it was across the street, and they don't even use the pellet stove now over there. But anyway, I can't tell you how much stuff I've picked up because their dumpster lid wouldn't close and all their stuff was blowing out of it into my yard. So I think the important part is having something because I had no recourse other than going over and saying, please pick up your trash. So, you know, I think the important part is having recourse.
For me, I really want the ordinance to mention that the first instance is a verbal warning because while our current code enforcement officer may not be someone who'll go around and like be checking for people to have trash cans, we don't know what future ones will. And where this would be something that's enacted, and then I believe this type of ordinance that has to be voted on by the town, you know, if we get someone who's like super strict and like has time and is driving around and reports everyone, I don't want that to become an issue. So I definitely think that in terms of like, if we're issuing them something, the first thing should be a warning. And then if everyone really wants the $200, I'd be fine with that. But I really want, you know, because people may not know. If they're new to town, not everyone's going to pull up the town website and read every ordinance right away. You know, they're moving, adjusting, and people who've lived here forever may not have read all the ordinances.
And I know that most often, I think it's people who complain, right? So it's not the code enforcement guy, it's somebody who has to deal with it, like Chris, or goes to the town office and says, hey.
The whole ironic part of this is if somebody went to Tony with a pile of stuff that they couldn't get rid of, he would say, yeah, just bring it. You know, don't worry about the fee. Just get it off your property. Let's clean it up and make it nice. I mean, we used to do that with Herb all the time. You know, just don't make a big deal out of it. Yes, okay, you don't have enough money. Just clean it up and bring it. We'll take care of it. That's all the codes officer is looking to do, is to stop the neighbors from complaining. That's where he gets it from. He doesn't get it from the person. Your mother was the one that would fall.
I propose that we amend section 5 of the ordinance to state that the first civilization will be a warning, can be a written one, and then any violation after is punishable by a fine of up to $200.
And if we change this, do we need to bring it back, or is this?
No, you have to have a public hearing, but you would approve the final language when you approve the warrant, because it's gonna be part of that.
So we
document.
don't need to have another public hearing
No.
because this is dragged on for 2 years
Yes.
now, so.
Yes, I'll make the amendments, and what I'll do is I'll circulate them around with your packet for that
Yeah.
meeting, and if you just let me know before we get here that you wanted to say something different, I
Yeah.
can take it.
That's important.
Yeah. Is that good, Mark?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Make a motion, we close the public hearing on the solid waste storage ordinance.
Second that.
So the motion by Chris, second by Kayla, to close the public hearing on the solid waste ordinance. All those in favor?
Yes.
Thank you. Next is a public hearing for the fiscal year 27 proposed budget.
So we go through the sort of the departmental budgets, as you know, it's sort of a process. We kind of reversed this a little bit this year because I think after kind of thinking about it, we should have the public hearing kind of earlier in the process because it was always like the meeting right before you approved it. So there wasn't time to make adjustments based on that feedback. So we're trying to do the public hearing earlier in the process so that we have time to make those adjustments. Because when there's a change of something meaningful, it takes staff time to figure out what the new number is going to be. So we needed a little more time to do it. Our process here in Monmouth, for those that don't know, because we don't have an open town meeting and we vote by a closed ballot, we're required to have a public hearing prior to you signing the warrant document. So we've gone through the individual departments already. Tony's back here to bring gloom and doom to the transfer station budget based on new information that's come forward since then. The remainder of the budgets haven't changed much from the beginning. Usually we do sort of the admin and the benefits and things would be at that last opportunity you have, just because of those numbers, we don't always know enough of them to have it be useful for you to discuss at this point. But if there are any questions about the general numbers, they're here. I have some sheets about the transfer station. I brought those because I think that's going to be the sort of the highlight of tonight probably, but it could be anything. Yeah, just direct your questions to the chair.
Well, it's more so towards you with what you were just saying. So there's other budgets that haven't been spoken about. Are we gonna have another hearing after them? Because like we haven't seen the library. We haven't.
Yes, you have.
So last,
Yeah, the only one that hasn't been done is the administration budget, which includes all of the benefits, the insurances and stuff for the town, which we don't usually have. We have to do our process so early because of this closed budgeting process that we don't have them. So like on my sheet here, I have lots of orange highlights, which basically means all I'm doing is carrying last year's number forward. So I can't,
Sure.
you can't make intelligent decisions.
last 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, so the would have been this, yeah, it's February 4th.
Justin went over the library.
It wasn't, somebody didn't present it, you.
No,
I did.
Justin went over it.
Must have missed that.
I don't think there were any, it was pretty a flat budget, right?
Yeah, the library budget almost never changes because anything that she wants to purchase, the Friends of the Library give, they're very generous with those types of purchases, so hers stays almost flat. Every year I've been here, it's barely moved.
Just with, adjustments and COLA, and that's about
Right,
it.
exactly,
So-
that's all.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Well,
You don't want to ask, but we have to. Yeah, yeah.
So if you want, I can, the sort of big ones that are driving the costs this year, a lot of them are things so we asked the department heads, based on your guidance, to bring in very conservative budgets. We have virtually no initiatives in this budget at all for any capital purchases, except for the replacement of the fire department roof, because has a hole in it. Other than that, there's no purchasing of any vehicles in here. There's no buildings, nothing of that sort. The major drivers are things that we get assessed from other people. So the ambulance budget went up significantly this year. The dispatch services went up significantly this year. The police department we already talked about, but there are some contractual obligations in that budget that drove theirs to be a little higher on the increase side than some of the other department budgets, but nothing of it was anything that the chief or his staff elected to put in there. It's stuff that we're required to pay because we've already signed a collective bargaining agreement. So I think everybody did a really nice job. But again, we don't know what the school is at this point. We don't know what the county is. And the last one that's making some big increases is going to be what Tony talks about. That's the one sort of in-town department budget that is just exploding, and he's going to explain why that is. But
Yes, sir.
There was one back for Cumston Hall that his budget item was like, I don't remember the exact percentage, but it wasn't real, because then right after that, he's like, I want a $10,000 increase on another one that goes to him. So
that's true.
So it was another $10,000 added to his budget that didn't go on his percentage.
It's not so much that it's added to his budget. It's one of the town's reserve funds. So we save money, we put it aside for future purchases. So that's what he was referring to. We do this, like all of the paving money is also part of a reserve fund budget. It doesn't go into Tony's operating fund. It sits there.
In my mind that he made it look like his percentage was good, but asking for $10,000, and I never realized that they only made $20,000 a year. So they're not even close to sustaining anything of what it costs to run.
Well, that's true. The money that is going to the Cumston Hall Reserve Fund is planned to, that building is always going to have major capital costs. The next one is going to be, the tower has to be painted, and that's going to be a lot of money. So what Dennis is trying to do is he's trying to get ahead of it by having the town put money aside so we don't come back one year and say we need $100,000 to paint the tower.
And I think the biggest thing that we've done since you've been here is start these reserve.
We've tried to, yeah.
And I think that, for example, talking with other towns, like the town that we bought the plow truck from, that's how a lot of people buy plow trucks or big expenditures. They use reserve accounts and we at home, a lot of us use that same philosophy that we're going to put money aside to be able to plan obsolescence, when you have to replace something.
Big money, like the public.
Well, and the other part of Cumston Hall is that Cumston Hall, that building, the way that it was set up by Dr. Cumston was never meant to make money. It wasn't supposed to be a moneymaker. It is a municipal building. So we don't make money with a lot of municipal buildings,
But you also don't have the opportunity to. Like the Public Works doesn't have an opportunity to make money. Cumston Hall, if they utilized it more and made more money out of it, would be more self-sufficient.
And, that building is rented the majority of the weekends. I mean, it is a
More
huge.
stuff that the town, like, I just looked at the schedule because I was trying to find that plant there thing, which kind of stinks that it's the same time as if it's up in places and what's. But with that being said, like, almost all of it is like the seniors, that taxpayers, the rec taxpayers. I mean, it's utilized, but not by people that are bringing income to it. It's rented out, but to things that the town's paying for.
Because first and foremost, we have first refusal for that building. The town has first refusal to use that building.
You,
I was on the board for 12 years and chairman of it, the majority of those 12. Of that at Compton Hall, and the fact that that building currently is generating $20,000, I think is pretty amazing. Can always strive to do better. Looking at some of the tenants, keep reviewing that. But it first and foremost is for the enjoyment and use of the town. And it shouldn't be looked at as some sort of a way to generate. We should do what you can, but it's for our entertainment. If you read the trust document, you'll get the gist of what it's all about.
Yes, and it goes right back to Dr. Cumston's will in that document,
And
so.
one other point I should probably make is that the physical plant costs of Compton Hall are in the Compton Hall budget, but the library is there. They don't contribute. If you look at the library budget, there's no line for heat or electricity. So all the costs are sitting in one department budget and it's being used by more than just them. It's just that's just where it sits.
There's additional property that goes there that often people forget, and that's
Compton Park.
AKA the fairgrounds here.
Yes.
Same thing, in the trust document, it specifies that it's for the use and enjoyment of the town first and foremost. If we don't use it and enjoy it, it disappears. So it's that too.
Is there a fee schedule for like rent and?
Yes, Dennis has that right on the website. There's a fee schedule for out of town and for in-town people, because the people of the town of Monmouth have a lower fee schedule, because obviously we're,
So like the event that's there tonight is on the higher end because they're not residents per se, right?
as regarding the police department,
Yep.
we're probably going to unite with Winthrop. And is that going to affect the budget for this year?
So the way that and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the way that the only way we could see this forward is to basically build the budget for Monmouth and Winthrop as though they are separate, because although Winthrop can take a vote anytime because they have a council to join, we can't. We have to go to the voters. So if the voters were to say no, then we wouldn't have enough budget and we wouldn't have put enough money in to operate the police department if the consolidation fails. So we have to kind of budget it as though it's not going to happen, and then ask the question. So any type of savings or realization of those savings wouldn't be in this budget, they'd be in the next one. Is that a fair way to put that, Chief?
Are we asking to join on this warrant?
That is sort of the plan of the consolidation committee. But the town manager of Winthrop and I and Chief and anybody else who wants to come, we have a public meeting set up on the 25th in this room right here at 5:30. So that the Monmouth residents have an opportunity to come and ask questions of the chief and me and the town manager and Winthrop about how this is all how it may or may not work.
The 25th.
Next week, right? Next Tuesday night.
yeah, it's on the town calendar.
Yeah. We put a Facebook post out too about it.
The 26th is the RSU meeting.
Okay.
I don't know if will you go?
Is the RSU meeting?
Will you go to that RSU meeting
I can go to the RSU meeting.
on Thursday, the 26th?
Should be able to. I know we had to reschedule the rec meeting, but I can always just email them and let them know that it needs to be rescheduled again.
When Kent came to visit me today, he indicated that he was planning on attending the RSU meeting, if that, just so you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because often I've been the only one attending.
I think they haven't. Did I see in that email from Rick that they do have a Zoom?
They do.
Yeah, so you can participate by Zoom as well.
Yep. Okay. We hear all the all the great stuff that you have.
So, I'll start with the rubbish.
And I will say, people have rubbish in the yard. There's no charge. All they have to do is bring it, throw it down in the dumpster and it's gone.
You know, he said it wouldn't be any higher than 81.
Well, so I got bad news for you.
Everybody did you.
So I have the esteemed allotment or assignment to be on the board for waste. So since the last time I was here, we've had another board meeting. Also during that time, they had another refractory, which is a sealing of the, where they burn the trash. And when that has a flaw in it, they can't burn the trash because the gases don't move. There's a whole bunch of science that I'd be lying to you if I told you I really paid attention during that part of it. Long story short, one of the burners has been down for 2 weeks waiting on parts. Long story short, you know, we're talking $75,000. Now they have to do the other one, so. The board voted to go $88 a ton on trash. So essentially, we're going from 54 to 88. We were gonna go to 70 was the game plan months ago, like 8 months ago. Then we ran into a bunch of trouble, went to 81, now we're locked in at 88 because every town's just like us, well, it's budget time. So the town of Monmouth's one of the members of Maine Waste Energy. When it got built, we paid off a bond to help construct. And so one of the guidelines is a member community can't pay any more than another community that sends their trash there. So if I'll just make up a town, you know, Whimsical Town is the lowest and they're 89. So the highest we could go was 88. So we're locked in at being the lowest. One of the things that's happened over the last year, we've had 2 assessments because part of the documents for being a member is if they don't have any money, we get assessed. We're a small piece of that. I think we're around 12%. Auburn's 62%, I believe. So, I mean, there's a big community involved. I mean, Auburn really does carry the freight. But, so trash going up, so we adjusted the budget there. We also, know that demo's gonna go up. I have it, way I have it figured is I include the cost of transportation. So we're paying $81 a ton or $85 a ton. But we're actually paying 115 to 120 because cost of the trucking, so that's just all part of it. Gremmels is who we use, they do the trucking, so that we don't have to, but there's a cost to that. So you asked me last week to look into a few things, scales. So one of the biggest scales companies in New England just happens to be in Auburn, so that was easy. Their owner came up, visited our transfer station. He was very aware of it. He had a lot of good knowledge on, you know, he's been around a lot. So a set of scales is there's a lot to a set of scales. I learned a lot. How big it has to be and la-di-da. So we're talking about $100,000 for the scales. Now, that's not the whole cost because albeit we have a building there, it's it used to be I'm pretty sure it was like the snack shack at a football game is what I.
Burley Shack that burnt? That one, the one that
Oh, no,
burned?
no.
Is
We
that-
moved another one down there after.
Oh, okay, that,
So anyways, we're gonna have to get, Wi-Fi there somehow. There's no Wi-Fi at the transfer station. We'd have to get heat in that building. That building have to be manned, while we're open for scales. The other piece of the puzzle that, I learned is, it's got to set on 4 anchors that have to be concrete piers. So we have to dig into the ground. So far, I haven't found out exactly where the actual landfill cap is and where we can actually dig into the turf. Is that a insurmountable hurdle? No, because we could change the way the layout is. The assumption is where the demo is on the right, with big pile of demo wood is not part of the cap, but we are not allowed to dig where the cap is. It looks like we're gonna have to deal with EPA on this. I don't know who else to call. We've looked quite extensively trying to find records of where this is, but everything that I found so far.
you need Herb.
Call it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So EPA because of the cap or because of the stream or both?
Cap, the stream wouldn't have anything to do with, this is just a mechanical thing,
Yeah.
sits up on top of the ground, that, you know, it's a couple feet off the ground. Or just getting the piers in to set it on, so if we're gonna go down that road, you know. It's like the police, you don't call them, invite them to your house if you
Yeah.
don't need them. If you get my drift.
Yeah.
Although we just did get inspected, so. So that's just one of the pieces of the puzzle there. The cost of demo, we know, I know that, at the waste to energy meeting, that the cost of demo is gonna go up significantly. So it boils down to options. Option A is, do we buy a set of scales now? If we buy a set of scales, people are gonna be paying for what they bring. They all go by, it's so much a pound. So, you know, you're truly paying for what you bring. Still a significant investment. The part that we don't know is where is the cost going? Is the trucking cost going up? Blah, de, da. So those are the pieces of puzzle to keep demo. If we go away from demo, obviously our side of the budget goes way down. You'll know which way I'm gonna lean now. If we have to buy a set of scales, you know, that's a CIP investment, okay? Nobody put in anything in the CIP this year because we can't afford any equipment. As I told you last time, I need 2 trash compacted trailers. So I got one that's vintage 1999. The other oldest one is 2001. So I've got a 25-year-old trailer and a 27-year-old trailer. So those things are starting to get expensive to maintain. We just had a bad 2 weeks on repairs. Some of it driven by the extreme cold this winter. Hydraulics does not like sub-zero, doesn't like sub-10 actually. So it puts a big strain. So there's been costs there. So CIP wise, we need trailers. We actually need 2. We haven't bought one in 7 years. We need a salt shed. I'm looking into salt sheds. I know, so when I started, I inherited this is the salt shed that's going to the voters that got voted down, which was, in my opinion, overkill. Is pretty big. Could we do something a lot smaller, a lot less money? Absolutely. I've been doing a lot of legwork on that. because this winter's been pretty stressful on the snow. We're gonna need plow truck again in the future, you know. Last time when we bought one, I said it's gonna be 3 years. Well, we're already into year 2 of 3 years with this budget, so when you say 3 years, it seems like a long ways down the road, but all of a sudden, boom, $250,000 for a plow truck. Our loader, this is the third time that's been put off. That was in the budget 3 years ago. I still have it 2 years out, maybe 3 if we can get it out of it, but also a very expensive piece of equipment that does an immense amount of work. I'm just giving you the information of where I feel, but I'm open to any question.
And the overall point there is if we, you know, we already have all this stuff that we have to maintain that we're having a hard time doing now. If we keep adding more expensive pieces of equipment, that those also need to be repaired and maintained, and you know, it just keeps going and going. So it's just, you just have to have that total picture of what the cost is over time. You know, not just a snapshot of, you know, today.
So beyond, you know, we know what the maintenance is on vehicles and trash trailers, but what type of maintenance do they tell you
Scale?
that a scale will need?
So scales have to be calibrated twice a year by state law.
Yeah.
So it's $2,000 twice a year, so 4,000.
Mhm.
You also have it serviced when they come and calibrate the scales. They also will be doing service on them. The scale comes with a 12-year warranty, so that's really good. And so without going too deep into the minutia, the scales they ride on it like a cog.
Mhm.
You know, you get on there, you can feel it move. Those generally last 7 years, so that the first time those get replaced falls under the warranty. And this is the guy owning the company was telling me this, so.
Yes,
Okay, so I remember last week, and I did ask you this earlier, I believe you said the town pays $113,000 demo above and beyond what people pay the minimal when they get charged right now.
A budget is.
Yeah.
Lines 100.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go to the,
but
what I'm on right now, the budget.
I
Sure.
had made a note here that we were $34,000 upside down on demo. So whether that's what I wrote down 2 weeks ago.
No, that's what we are.
So we're upside down 30 some odd thousand.
I think the total with tires,
Exclude all that.
demo, I think we're at 43,000.
Over.
Costing us more than we're taking in.
Okay, so what I'm getting at is like, so we already paying I don't remember where the 113,000 came from last 2 weeks. I thought that's what you said, the demo costed the town in the budget, 113,000.
That's what that cost is to get rid of.
Okay. If you have a scale, that 113,000 goes away because whoever drives across the scale is paying that full amount. Plus, if you added an extra $5 per tonnage or whatever, then you pay for the maintenance of the scale and whatever else goes on, you know, like, don't just, if the truck's 2,000 pounds, don't charge it for 2,000, do 2,000 plus a little bit for maintenance, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
So how you would pay for, like you pay for the scale?
Yeah.
If you wanna be 140 a ton,
Yeah.
it's so many cents a pound. So if that's where you wanna be, cause you think that's what's gonna cover your cost
Right.
to move the demo, instead of 10 cents a pound, you charge 15 cents a pound. Now you're paying for
Correct.
the wear and tear on the scale.
But
You're putting money into.
But it brings down the transfers budget by 113,000 because the taxpayers are not paying for that demo.
Well, first we have to overcome the capital outlay of the 100,000 right off.
Not 100,
One time.
you're not coming.
Yeah, but it'll probably take us
You're only
5, 6 years to pay it off.
The 44,000.
Excuse me?
You're only gonna overcome the net loss of 44,000. You're not gonna lose, you're not overcoming 116,000. You're only, the difference being made up is red. That makes sense to you?
Brian,
Yeah.
Because you,
I'm sorry.
taxpayers should not be paying any of the demo, shouldn't be subsidizing any of the demo.
The money that we take in pays the rest of it. The part that the towns pay, the part you're paying is out of the 44,000.
Okay.
Not the 60,000.
So the 68 is whoever came across, or whoever came in paid that.
Correct.
Okay, all right, I get it now.
Give a specific amount of tonnage on the demo, what did we bring over there, or is it kind of like all just together?
No, I got it to the decimal of the time. Because, and this,
Yeah.
we have to file a report with the EPA every year.
Right.
This is what went through. So I have to account for X amount of trash, X amount of demo, X amount of construction wood, X amount of brush. This is what went through. So every vendor that we work with, so Grimmel's comes and takes our demo. I haven't got, no, actually, I think I did just get it in the mail. They sent me a report. You used this many tons.
Yep.
You did this many tons of metal. Kuznets they have to send me a report. You did this many tons of dirty wood, you did this many tons of brush.
Yep.
I get a report from the battery guy, North Coast. They send out, okay, this is how many batteries you turned in. So
Yep, yep.
we know those numbers.
Yeah, so kind of what you're saying is like, if you could kind of do a quick mathematical equation of how much tonnage you brought and then how much we would charge, would kind of give us a slight idea of maybe where we would end up
So the
at.
going rate is between 10 and 15 cents a pound. That's what everybody else does. Generally
For demo.
for demo.
Yeah.
I mean, so the fudge factor would be, you bring me a mattress. Mattresses and sheetrock are the ones that suck up water and cost way more to get rid of.
Right.
That's how you instead of,
Yeah.
that's where that buffer zone 5 cents a pound would help cover that. I mean, we do what we can to try to avoid that, but, you know, I drove in there Monday morning. We had 7 couches. I don't know if a frat went out.
President's Day furniture sales, I guess, you know? So,
But then I guess we would also run the risk of, if we had a scale and people have to pay for it, maybe we would actually get less. And then
Possible
then we're in
too.
the hole more.
Right, because we're,
Well, no, because if we're
Right now,
not
we're a
taking
cheap
it in,
date.
we're not hauling it out.
exactly.
If it doesn't come in the door, I don't have to send it out.
But if we had a scale, then we wouldn't get any much more. Do it either. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
They're gonna,
yeah, the other side of it is like this discussion is sort of leapfrogging
Yeah.
the capital plan. So now we still need the compactor trailers, but now we just spent another 100,000 on another piece of equipment that wasn't even on the list.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the bigger issue is like what are the priorities and what are you gonna do? And, you know, what are you willing to jettison and all that?
it's your priority.
Yes,
The person that goes and votes.
right, exactly.
I'm just trying to give you all the information.
Yeah.
Whatever you wanna know, I'll try to get you.
So does it need to go to a vote, like just to get rid of demo, or do we literally decide whether we get rid of?
Well, it's the budget. If the budget doesn't have demo in it, demo's gone. Or if the budget has demo in it, or,
But
you know,
who's that
so-
deciding factor whether it's in the budget or not?
The board decides what goes on the warrant, which is what is considered by the townsfolk.
so it's been suggested that we have bantered around that we have 2 questions. Kind of similar to how we handled the academy a few years ago. Either, you know, do you want no demo? Or do you want to buy a scale and have demo? And it would read, the select board says, yes to either one, because it's not up to us, it's up to whoever votes. So that's kind of, one of the things that could happen, so that people can decide whether they want to keep demo if we, and knowing that what demo costs. But this has been a conversation for as long as I've been on the board, and much longer beyond that, about demo and how much the transfer station costs.
Have we reached out to Wales to see if they'd be willing to contribute if we were to purchase the scale?
I think that you would.
They have their agreement, no. So the quick answer is no. They have a per capita fee that they pay into a reserve fund for capital improvements at our transfer station,
Is this something that
above and beyond
maybe
what
we
they
could
pay.
have a public hearing where we invite their townspeople? Because if it's impacting them too and they're using demo as well, they might actually be willing to supply more funds.
Essentially.
So one of the select board members of Wales is the president of the board that I'm on at Maine Waste Energy. So he's well aware of what's going on. You guys gave me one more job. What are the options if we do away with demo? Literally took me 5 minutes to find 5 companies. Dump guys, I forgot all about them, but the commercials on it.
Yeah.
Dump guys, Waste Management, Troyano, Riverside, they all have options for demo removal. So it's, the concern was, do they have any options? So,
Or you can drive it right
or you can drive it right to maybe.
wherever you want.
Those are expensive options for a.
As we found out, demo is expensive no matter.
Worried about trashing people's yards now. They have to do that. That's gonna be a lot.
Right, it's just the balance, right? So between the trash tipping fees and the demo going up, the transfer station budget's increasing by over $100,000 just this year. And that's not gonna stop. So, people just have to decide what it's worth to them.
Yeah, yes, you.
As I mentioned last time, it continues to be a shell game. So we just been dodging this bullet for a long time. I think we need, whether when the tax dollars, the whole thing, I think the scale's a way better idea because when you're paying directly to the user. But we get paid for the demo. So whether we hire these outside people, which is more expensive, or we do it ourselves, I think it'd be more responsible to do it ourselves, but I don't want to throw Tony under the bus. With that, I want to do it, but it sounds on the surface with what I've heard so far that we might want to be in control of it and benefit our taxpayers if we can save them some money, but still do it the right way and not go into the red.
Today I spoke to the Joe White, the manager of I just was wondering, what he knew or so forth. He said that, I guess a local, a Monmouth contractor came to the transfer station, wanted to get rid of the debris that they had accumulated, and he said it's going to cost you $100. And so the guy said, well, I don't want to pay that much. I think I'll shop around. So maybe you've heard this. I don't know.
Yeah.
And he went to Winthrop, and they told him in Winthrop, well, it's going to cost you $600.
It was 4.
4?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he went somewhere else and it was maybe 600. I don't know, maybe down to MWAC or Green or someplace, but. Yeah.
This might be a stupid
Right.
question, but can we truck it somewhere else, or is that like our only option?
So we can go to Norwich Walk. We can go to them, but
It's farther.
the trucking fee
That's right,
is.
yeah, it's farther.
gonna go.
Yeah.
I mean, I got down there, it's 24 minutes from here to get rid of that.
Yeah.
That's a big difference in going to, certainly Bangor.
Yeah.
So I think as anybody seen on the news, they're doing a big expansion up here. So there's gonna be a lot of towns interested in going there. But for us, our locale is not, I mean, it doesn't even, we looked at, what would it cost us if we bought a truck, throw the trailers around, and it's just, it's not just the truck, you gotta have the labor, then you gotta fix the truck, you gotta fuel the truck, it just, there's not a lot of good options. And you, I really, it doesn't matter to me how we do this, it's,
Just come down, know it's time to pay our way.
Yes, sir.
There's actually more to this than just a demo. We're actually paying more for recycling.
Yep.
Than we are for regular trash. So if you put the whole thing in, we got rid of recycling and paid just the waste. That would save on a budget to help for a scale with demo and all that, like.
That's an option later this year when our contract with EcoMaine is up, but we can't, technically, every recyclable material that goes through our transfer station is contractually obligated to EcoMaine until that contract. It's sometime later this year, so it's in the next budget season, but it's not very far in. It's before the end of the current calendar year. I can't remember the exact
Is
date.
that an option to cut more money from the waste?
The board has already requested that I request that we are not renewing it because it automatically renews 6 months before it terminates. So I've already sent that, so we're already out, if you will, unless we renew it on our own.
so if one of the things that we're looking at on that is, we already have a trailer for recycle compactor. Eliminate all, like glass is worth nothing, cans are worth nothing. But cardboard's worth money, so.
I was gonna
if
go
we
there next.
Just use the compactor for only cardboard, now we have a commodity that
You
we're
can
making
sell and
money.
make money.
Correct, and
It's
it's
up
not
to
a
my
huge
style.
market, but it's better than paying.
Yep.
I mean, we're paying $115 a ton for recycle, of which most of it goes into landfill. So they're hauling to a landfill for $81, same as it, and we're paying 54. So they're making $25 a ton off of us for bringing the recycle. And I hope this doesn't insult anybody, but
Sometimes
because
it goes
there's
in the
people that are just recycle is the way the world has to run. And it's not free. It used to make money, now it's very expensive.
So is that recycle fee going up? Do you know?
We don't know.
Okay.
We opted, right now, we're opting out. And, you know.
Well, we have until we opt out, and if it goes
No,
up.
it's set until we go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's 115.
It just,
And there's a little bit, I don't mean to take, but you're asking questions, so I want to build it. So the recycling has another added thing, because the state passed the big box shipping stores. So like Amazon's and Walmart that produce all the cardboard,
Yes.
they have to start, they're already collecting a fee, which the state is holding on to, but they're going to start paying out municipalities that recycle
Just cardboard or?
out of those fees. We're not clear because the state hasn't made all the rules. They're collecting the money, but we don't know how we're going to get it back.
Okay.
We're cutting it close.
But if we don't recycle at all, we're not eligible for any of that. So we don't know whether that's going to be a lucrative thing or not. We don't know yet. It complicates it.
But at the end of the day, look, we're not, why throw money away until we can get money back? If, with all the no.
Well, I mean, like certainly right now, when we're paying $55 a ton for trash and it's 110 or whatever, just to throw it in the recycling bin.
Right.
so just to be clear, on the recycle, it's 115 a ton. Plus, we're driving it to Portland.
So it's 115 plus transfer.
Correct. Just so, I just want everybody to know all the info.
No, I'm writing it.
Trash is fun.
Can we jump back into the EcoMaine at any time? Or is it on a calendar kind of?
We're not a member, we're just a contracted community. So I would say yes, but we wouldn't know whether they would give us a favorable rate or not.
Well, so Waste to Energy, we're a member. Other towns bring their trash here. It's the same thing, there's members of EcoMaine. We're not a member, but we're a customer.
Contracted customer or just
Yes.
has to go, okay.
Contract.
MWAC doesn't have a recycling facility. EcoMaine is a waste to energy incinerator, just like the one in Auburn. So they take the trash basically for all the Cumberland County, greater Cumberland County, they all own that one. But they have a single sort recycling facility. So if you want to be able to do single sort, EcoMaine is really, it's either that one or the one in Bangor, the other two. You know, they're big fancy machines that can sort, you throw it in one bin and it puts glass over here.
scale that you're talking about, is that like, kind of like the one in Lewiston, or is that more like the one at MWAP? MWAP one seems to be you just drive on.
This will be a drive-on scale.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's big enough to take a one-ton, you know, like a small dump truck. I call them one-tons, they're not
Yeah.
one-tons and 2 tons, but, and a trailer. So I think it's 40 feet long.
So if we withdraw from Eco Maine and then the state decides they're gonna chip into the fund that they've been collecting, where does that leave us?
They are gonna start distributing those funds to municipalities that are participating in recycling programs, but we do not know what it looks like. So they passed a state law, so that's like basic framework, but it all has to go to rulemaking about how they're gonna divvy out the money and all that, and they don't have any idea yet.
So should we be withdrawing or should we wait and see? But we're gonna have
That's
to.
why I said it complicates it, because if there's a,
Roll the dice.
so Eco Maine is saying you shouldn't get out because they think there's gonna be money, but they have a vested interest in us staying in too, so I don't know.
It's kind of like the states that get paid for bottle recycling, so they don't recycle bottles. But here we don't do that. We turn our bottles in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Minimum we should do is keep the cardboard so we can recycle cardboard.
Yes, because we
And
pay.
call that recyclable. Bingo.
Well, and
And maybe it will fall under the governor's.
And if we got rid of the recycle, you have a covered thing so the cardboard doesn't get wet.
Get wet.
So it-
But yeah. MWAC doesn't like cardboard. You put a bunch of cardboard in the burner and it smothers.
Fire, yeah.
They try to sort it right out and get rid of it. So we take it in and it still goes on. Just another piece of the puzzle. You gotta start digging into this stuff and just get your head.
That's why I figured I'd throw.
No, trash is a loser, no matter which way you cut it.
Do we have to make a decision?
We will need to know before you approve the budget this year, which direction you want to go in, because we'll need, if we're gonna keep it, even if you keep it as is, the number that's on your transfer station sheet right now does not include any of the costs that Tony's gonna need for the scale. This is just to pay the tipping fees for what we're doing right now.
So can we see what will happen if we stay with the way it is, taking dirty wood, taking demo?
That's what's in your budget right now. So the budget from, well, the 2026 transfer station budget was 429,000. And for us to do the exact same thing next year, it's gonna be 542,000.
And that's before the scale?
That's before.
Scale.
542.
It's down there. And
It's 115,000.
Is it on one
Are
of
these
those?
the new ones?
The transfer station, yeah, 'cause we've been playing, I printed,
I just have my notes from last
if
time.
anybody wants one of those, they're right there, transfer station, but.
oh, Dennis has a question.
Yes,
Actually, no, probably for. Is it, I know it's a little more work for you, but is it possible to see what the budget would look like on paper with a number? No demo. No recycle.
We have that.
Yeah, that was,
We presented that at the Public Works meeting and the board wasn't comfortable with it, so we added it back in. And then they sent Tony to do the research on the scale.
I'm pretty sure.
Do you have the
well,
last
it
one?
was, yeah, I've got.
I think I ripped it out of my book.
The last one,
No recycle, I'm just writing this down, no recycle and no.
We still have the recycling in there because we don't know, we have to pay it moving into the next budget.
It would be
380,000
380,000.
and $815.
380, 815.
Yeah.
A drop of 11%. So instead of going down.
Oh, that's what you're.
Down 11% or up 11%.
Yes.
Big swing.
That was your 11% drop. Or-
Right. And when you add it all back in, it goes up 26.5%.
That's a no-brainer.
What, get rid of demo?
I did it.
I mean, well, that's the way we presented it. I'm not afraid of saying it. That's what we,
Talking
that's,
about the actual use of demo did it. But, no. I get a tax bill every year for my house and you start, when it keep going like this, what can I do without?
You have your trash collected, right, in Augusta?
Yeah.
demo, like household trash
Demo.
and
I have to
recycling,
take
right?
my own demo.
Yeah.
If I wanna get rid of demo, I have to,
You do.
or pay somebody.
And
Yeah.
so possibly, if we got rid of demo, it could go down again next, if we got rid of demo this year, recycle next year, it could go down even more, correct?
Correct. I still think I would strongly push for, we keep doing cardboard.
Yeah.
We have to find out if that qualifies as keeping our foot in the door at the
Right.
recycling. I mean, they take in way more than they can handle down there. What they've done is they have great big warehouse buildings. So they have, a Gaylord is a big box on a pallet. They fill them with, glass. But that, there's no market, so it's sitting over in the storage barn. They have mountains of stuff. They're just waiting. So now all those buildings are full. Now what are they doing?
Landfill.
Well, I mean, it gives the full story, either without, having the demo out of there and then having the information with the demo in there. Because, all well and good for us to put the numbers out there, but
Yeah, sure. And if we went to a scale too, just so that everybody knows, there's gonna be a pretty significant lag. So we will have to budget as though we don't have the revenue necessarily from the scale for the full year, because if we approve it in June, we're not gonna have it the week later. It's gonna be 6 months, 8 months down into that budget. So we're still gonna have to,
That's the problem. We vote so late.
Yeah.
That they don't have them sitting. I mean, I can't even get a valve sitting on a shelf anywhere. I have to wait. So these things, I believe, come out of Wisconsin. There's lead time. Next time.
So it's gonna go into effect March 1st.
You tell me it is.
we voted 2 weeks ago for the new fees to go into effect
right, and
for March 1st.
We're gonna have to.
Mark, did you want me to bring our discussion up now, or did you want to say something, or you want me to do it? This is on the fees.
No, go ahead. Yeah, we can have that.
So, you did approve those, changes to the fees on there, but that was a condensed version of the fees based on no demo. So I do know that you wanted to keep the demo in, but if you kept the demo, we have a more comprehensive fee change schedule without the scale that we would like to have clearly laid out in front of you, which we can do, but I would like, with your permission, I'd like to bring it back to another meeting that you have, maybe your next one, and then you can see what all those different, because what we now have a big spreadsheet and we break down things by, lazy boy chair to office chair and all that, and we would like to get rid of all these sort of meaningless classifications and just say, if you're bringing a couch or a chair, it's this, and stuff like that. Like, we made a whole new, Tony did all the work. He just came and told me.
KV cog.
We use that to influence some of our decisions. We didn't, there's no consistency with,
This definitely was a work from the KV cog conference.
yeah,
But I think
that didn't have demo in it. Demo is all over the place because towns that have scales can do it by the pound and the ones like us, we can't. So they're just,
There was not many
It's a
apples to
scattershot.
apples for us.
I think the biggest thing is because we're paying $5 for a tire, but charging people $2. The biggest part of that was getting on the right side of the things that were obvious.
Correct.
And then if we need to work through the demo numbers,
Yeah, you could do it in two different.
working through the demo numbers. I don't.
Yeah.
Last. In my. Yeah. So, yeah, bring back the demo. I think next time.
Yeah, that's all we need to do.
Demo
We're
things
comfortable
and
with all
then
that you,
start- Exactly.
Yeah.
So March 1st, we'll postpone it.
Well, if you wanna do.
we can implement those.
I think we should implement these that we discussed,
As of March 1st.
as the ones that were on here, and then next time bring us the rest of the demo. And then we'll
We'll put it. all right on the
take that
agenda.
and, make that the next step. So,
And people can get acquainted with this
yes, change,
quickly.
yeah. Well, I mean, Allison's and stuff, stickers, all that stuff pretty quickly, so if we have new
yes.
features.
So not really on the whole scheduling fee or whatever, but about 2 weeks ago, that topic wasn't on the agenda. You guys talked about it and voted on it, hence once again, to enact them fees as of March 1st. How could you have voted on something that wasn't on the agenda?
So a vote of the board is not nullified by the fact it wasn't on the agenda. So they can bring up, it's just sort of good governance, right? So that the public knows what they're doing. In that particular case, I'd be a little more lenient on it because the public works budget was the discussion of that meeting.
Okay.
So they used the revenue side of that particular budget to try to offset some of the costs. So I think it was a relevant discussion.
Yeah, we didn't have fair discussion about it.
Sure.
Townspeople.
Yeah, I can give you that.
Brought up, voted on, and then if anybody had a problem with it, but not that I'm saying it is, but again, back to, we had this discussion before about this.
Yeah, so we'll bring the demo fees back. If you'd like to have them at your next meeting, that's fine, because we've already done
We're done. Part of it.
yeah, we've done most of it, I think, or enough of it, we can get it done. Fair, Tony?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Good for Howdy.
Taking the money, that'd be good.
Tell my wife you said that.
So I'm not sure what else you might have for questions for tonight. Happy to try to answer any of them. I do have some sort of general, totals here. But again, that there's a big the biggest category there is the town-wide stuff, which is the school, the county and the thing. And last year it was, $8 million and we don't know what any of those numbers are. So that is a.
Do we have those?
Oh, yeah, sure. I brought extras in case anybody here wanted them too in the audience, but, these are sort of the summary sheets that add in all the different departments for where we are at the moment. And and obviously we don't know what the valuation of the town is because that won't get done till fall, so that you can have this one, but we use the same number as this year. And then this has some revenue numbers on it too. But some of those outside costs are really dominating the budget.
Any idea how much? Yeah, it's gonna be.
Really, just, it's not good. Those would take serious changes to, and I'm not saying you can't do that, but in the things that we control, I feel have been controlled very well. And the things that we buy services from other people, I think there's just a lot of reconciliation to what things are actually costing, and everybody's trying to get themselves into a safe spot. Like the problem with MWAC is they burned through, what was it? $7 million or $4 million? I can't remember the number.
Just under 5 million.
Just under $5 million in cash in 2 years because they weren't taking in enough fees, and it's what it costs to get rid of this stuff. So there wasn't a realization because they were trying to keep the fees down for all their members, right? So they weren't charging what it cost them. So they burned through all their fund balance, and now they've got a big mess. And we can't get into those situations.
No, we were paying $54 a ton. It'd show up there. One of the furnaces is down or they have too much trash that day. They can only burn so much a day. And then they were getting rid of it at $82. So they were losing $30 a ton every time I sent there. And we send at least 3 trailers a week.
Kind of like us in tires.
Yes, just on a larger scale, yes.
And the money that they get from CMP is,
So it's both amazing and discouraging and really aggravating what they get per kilowatt hour. It's peanuts. Last year's sales, so we have a $12 million budget for MWAC. Their energy sales was like 258,000. So they're not subsidized. Their kilowatt hour is what's a negotiated rate. There's no subsidy to them. So I think it's like 8 cents a kilowatt hour, where the guy with the solar farm's getting 24 cents a kilowatt hour.
how come they can't get more?
Because they are, waste to energy incinerators are not considered high on the hierarchy. They're considered a landfill. So they did the same treatment under state EPA laws as you throwing it in the ground. Like they're not treated as a better solution to getting rid of trash. So they don't get any of the extra rates that the legislature has, like that the PUC puts out for wind and solar and all the other things. They get enhanced rates, but the waste to energy plants get nothing.
Like I said, aggravating.
Oh, yeah, that's terrible. I mean,
They ask for it to change every year. I mean, believe me, MWAC and EcoMaine, all the waste to energy incinerators, they go and try to lobby the legislature every term, and they can't get it anywhere. Because the landfills don't want them to be higher, because then there's more opportunity, more communities may choose to put it in those types of facilities versus sending them to Norwich Walk and dumping it in the big hole. Or the mountain. Really a mountain, right? It's a big mountain. It's the other way. Oh, I don't know. Is that enough bad news or?
bad enough, good, yeah. Do you have any questions?
Oh.
Mark, you have anything further?
No, not really. I'm just glad that there are some people there and, they're starting to understand that it's not as simple as, well, just don't vote for that because, it costs money and, it's a challenge to keep taxes low. And you don't really understand that until you start getting involved in this and you see the problems that you run up against. And it's not as simple as just, keeping taxes low and don't vote for things because, there's not a good solution. Inevitably, everything has to keep going up and we just try to limit how much it goes up.
You want the services, you gotta pay.
Exactly.
So we can move on.
I make a motion, we close the public hearing on fiscal year 27 budget.
Budget or just the transfer?
Budget.
Budget.
I got
That was the
another
budget.
question on Budget then, sorry.
Yes.
Well, last week or 2 weeks ago, sorry, I keep saying last week, they were talking about the 1856 building. I thought the voters spoke loud and clear that we weren't putting any more money into it. Then you asked for $6,000 for the townspeople to go into it. With that being said, it was also stated in that same meeting that there's no electricity, the electrical isn't done and there's no insulation and sheetrock. Why would the townspeople pay $6,000 to heat a building that's not sheetrock?
I believe those are already budgeted for, correct?
It was asked for, so.
The 6,000 is just for heating the pipes down first. From what I
Again, so
understand.
Well, there's no water in there, but it prevents the brick building from parging and it keeps the bricks conditioned because the longer a building sits without heat, the more damage that can be caused to the mortar without heat inside of it. Just like you wouldn't close up your house and go to Florida and leave no heat in it for months on end.
But you would.
We've paid 1.7, with the town approved $1.7 million that's been invested in that building. So your options are do nothing and let 1.7 million go by the wayside, that we're paying that bond back, or we spend $6,000 to have some sort of heat in that building. We're in the process.
If the building's not going forward more and the town.
So we have 3 grants that are being written as we speak, be able to move the building forward. We're looking for grants. But this is a municipal building that the committee asked that we bring it before the voters. It's not for the building. We're not constructing anything or doing anything with that. We're maintaining a town-owned building with that.
That's not, you did say it wasn't insulated. I haven't been in the building.
So that building, we have some money left that we are in the process of discussing with an insulation company and with electrical companies to rough in and get some insulation in the exterior walls. Like anything right now, doing anything with construction is a slow slog to get people on site and work through that, so.
But the theory, the theory was from the beginning that that would all be privately funded.
No.
Yeah. I thought that's what we voted on.
You voted on $1.5 million. And then $200,000 came from the Cottrell School sale.
I think she's talking about taking care of the building was supposed to be privately funded.
No, I don't believe that was ever discussed. That's a municipal building. It would always be paid by the municipality.
My memory serves that we borrowed the money, done what we've done so far, but at the very onset of all this, it was said, it's hoped that some of the events there might offset
Oh, yeah.
it. But there was never
Exactly.
any promise that we as tax, I
No.
expected to pay for some heating oil, some electricity.
Exactly.
From the very beginning of all that. I
Just
never
like
dreamed
this
that-
building that we're sitting in.
Correct.
This
The
building.
conversation that we hoped that some of the rental
Well,
fees would offset some of that, but it was never suggested it would be a flat zero.
No.
I never heard that one.
Never.
in conversation.
The voters can still vote no on the $6,000. It's just a request where it is a municipal building to cover that heating.
And the big part of it is we're going for matching funds, so trying to retain as much as we can of what we have left helps, for those matching funds. So when you go for a lot of these grants, you have to have matching funds, and the matching funds have to come from somewhere. And that little pot that we've got left there, we're hoping to do that, because people that have made donations not for the heat. They've made donations to move the building forward to completion. So
And there were so many uses for that building.
I didn't hear
We
you.
find all the time how valuable it could be for the town to have that available. So it's a good project.
How much to complete?
But
How much are we estimating to complete the project?
it's been estimated for completion is about $800,000 to complete the interior.
yes, you.
So, speaking to the town manager, I think is aware of all this, we know where we're at on, what are our chances of improving now for the grant writing? Because I know we had some stumbling blocks we discussed in previous meetings. Is that light starting to shine on us a little bit, maybe,
I mean, I think that
based on circumstances?
Steve's put a lot of work into it. I think that their biggest concern right now, like the heat, is just well, if you think about it, it's a brick building that's not insulated, and they're heating it now, but they're using their donations to heat it. So what they're doing is they're chewing through everything that they're earning in the winter time. And then they're applying for these grants, but if they don't have enough matching funds on hand, because the town doesn't have any more money to contribute, then they won't qualify for the, or even if they win the grant, they won't be able to receive it because they don't have enough cash on hand to meet the 10% or 15% match or whatever. So they're trying to protect, I think, their core of funds at this point so that they're still in a good position to hopefully get some money from somewhere else. Does that answer your question,
He's
Neil?
asking more about, having current audits so that we can show the
Oh,
current
yeah.
audits for some of the grants that you're writing, ask for those fiscal reports.
Right.
So,
Yeah, so we're having the same problem that everybody else is. The schools are 2 years behind on theirs as well. Their problem is there just aren't enough municipal or government auditors to complete the work. I have been having discussions with another auditing firm because ours has made it clear to me that if we keep pushing them about their timeline, that they're going to drop us. And if we get dropped, then we're going to end up 3 or 4 years behind, and nobody wants that to happen because if there's a mistake, you don't catch it till it's too late. So I have a lead on somebody that seems to be interested in us because we do a pre-audit, so it's a little easier than some other municipalities. So they're considering. Yeah, I've been talking with the owner, and he's trying to figure out, do I have time and can I make a little more money? That's not, all that stuff that you run a business and you're trying to figure it out. So we are trying to improve our position on that, but it is very hard. They just don't exist.
and I think, the grant situation out there is so overwhelmed because of people that started projects like we did and, ended up with COVID increases of 40%. And that's the money that's not there, is that 40% of COVID increases. So, the grants have been extremely, and a lot of people have stopped accepting grants. I mean, you can't even apply for an Alphon grant anymore. They've stopped taking applications. So.
Yes, sir.
So just so it's on record, so you're saying that if this building got finished, that is going to be another Compton Hall where the town needs to pay to somebody to run it, somebody to this, somebody to that, and for it to make 20 grand a year.
Well, this building is not of the scale of Compton Hall. It won't have painting requirements.
It'll have
Any
what?
painting requirements, other than like the front
I'm
columns.
saying once it's
And
finished.
so, but it would be rentable on the same fee schedule that we've come up with, Compton, the same type of thing. And this building will have modern fixtures, modern insulation.
That's the answer to the question. So the town's gonna be on the hook for.
Well, yes, it's a municipal building.
I know.
It won't be 100, this building is about a quarter of the size of
Okay,
Compton
so
Hall.
say 75 grand for it to make 10 grand. Again, another.
I don't think that the budget would ever be 75 grand because it's, Dennis would probably manage that building in his time like he does with Compton. It's not.
Then you gotta hire somebody else. Again, we're thinking big picture. huh?
Okay, so I don't know what the projected cost in 25 years will be. So this building would never cost what Compton does to heat. It's going to have, modern heating system in it as opposed to, the boiler system we had in Compton Hall. But, when you own a building, you're responsible for taking care of it. So the town chose to take that building back, and that's what happened. So here we are. What do we do with it? Do we close the door and lock it and throw away the key and say nobody's ever going to go in that building? Thank you for the $1.7 million. Or do we finish the building and utilize it as a town and have events there and have meals available there, or have a wedding there, or have meetings, or have caucuses, or whatever we choose to do there? Or do we lock the door and walk away from it and thank you for your $1.7 million? That meant nothing. So, what's your choice?
Is there,
Yeah, Brian?
is there just a projected return of investment on that, or is there
I don't believe that, any municipal building, like I said earlier, that you ever make money on a municipal building. You're essentially trying to cover your cost of, heating or whatever. So,
You're just kind of, but what you're pitching it as is some sort of the scheduled event moneymaker kind of thing.
That's the hope, but I don't think it'll ever generate a huge
does this
revenue.
building generate money? I don't think this building that we're sitting in generates money. So, but it's,
But we're not asking a town that just got the assessment that it did with the raises and the taxes, and then we've addressed this before many times, is just we're trying, everybody, at least me, I'm here to try and cut every nickel that we can out of this budget because my tax bill went crazy. I know his tax bill went morbidly crazy, and here we are. And that's why I'm trying to address that, maybe not this year, maybe not this budget, but if the building gets finished, it's gonna be another burden to the town of just money going out.
and that's, the choice we make with the police department and public works
This might not
and
be a good.
everything else.
Why don't we absorb
a building to the police department?
Well, they have a building.
revenue?
So that's a great conversation and you can vote no on the $6,000.
Just making sure that people understand because it gets worked around. Like I just asked if it would be a burden. We talked about all the events that were gonna be there and not.
Well, I don't think this building has ever been said it wouldn't be a burden because how is it not? It's a municipal owned property that has to be insured. It has to be heated. It has to have the lights on. It has to flush the toilets. It's like any building, there's a cost to owning something because a cost to own my car, there's a cost to own my house. There's a cost to own a building.
But once it's occupied, costs go up.
Maybe we could do an analysis where we compare the scope of that building compared to this in Cumston. And then, because I know that you said there have been some requests for renting it. Maybe we can do an analysis just to see like what the potential costs are. We obviously don't know what the fixed costs are. And then just like if we rent it a few times a month, what that potential generated revenue is, and then we can figure that out. It may just end up being like a net zero. Maybe that we have to pay a little every year, but that's definitely something that we could look into, and I can work with Chris on that.
Thank you.
I can promise you it's always gonna cost the town something to use that building. It's not realistic to think that it's gonna be a negative for revenue. But I don't expect Tony to make revenue plowing down the roads and plowing snow, but I expect him to be there.
Yeah.
The building's there, we spent $107 million or whatever it is. We need to figure out how to finish it and stop throwing mud at it and take care of it. Water under the bridge, that's old news, ancient history. Let's move forward.
Could this help?
No. Absolutely not.
I mean, we can put it on the ballot.
Absolutely not.
You made a
I did make a motion.
and that. So you want to make another?
I will make motion that to close the public hearing.
I just have one more thing. I don't know if this is time and place, but there's a number of people from the Watershed Friends that are here. If you have any questions on that.
Yeah, you can do, it's up to the chair. You can do it now, or you can do it under public comments.
I mean, they've been hanging for this, all this stuff.
It's all important.
I was gonna make the police chief go out of order so that you guys could go home.
Okay.
You know. Sorry, chief. But you can do it whenever you're comfortable. Yes. Yeah.
Do you want to do your pitch?
Do you want to? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, do we need to close the public hearing or?
Yeah, we do.
Well, if you're gonna take them during your budget, which is it's appropriate too, you can do it whichever way you wanna do it.
Yeah, you can do that.
You have the.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Why don't you go up here? Why don't you go up here, so. See.
You like this thing, you can use it, or you're welcome.
Yeah, do you
Whatever.
prefer me to be at the podium or here? Or?
It's pretty informal
Wherever you
usually.
want. See everybody. My name is Jennifer Peasnell. I am the Director of Conservation at the Watershed Friends. I'm also joined by a number of colleagues and supporters as well. And I want to thank you all for being here and also thank the town of Monmouth and the select board for allowing us time to talk about our funding request and also give a little bit of an update on how past season went, how we're projecting this coming season to go, and answer any questions that the town may have. So I just want to highlight, or I actually want to introduce our request. So that was sent in about a month ago, early January, a total request of $24,000, just a slight increase from last year due to, rising costs, inflation, an increase of wage as well due to the increasing minimum wage, and in order to stay competitive with the other organizations that do the work that we do. So we work with aquatic invasive species primarily. We work with water quality and preventing aquatic invasive species from being introduced or spreading from infested water bodies within the Cavazos County watershed. We also work to survey and early detect those invasives and to manage those invasive species as well. Some successes from this past year, and I'm going to try to keep this short. It was a very busy season for us. You may remember I had reported last year during our town funding request that curly leaf pondweed, which was a new invasive species to our watershed, was found by a courtesy boat inspector on a boat that was about to enter into Cocknoagan Pond. We were concerned there might be an infestation. There were 2 full surveys of the lake, of the pond conducted this past season, and we did not find any evidence of aquatic invasive plants, which is fantastic. So that shows a successful save, the importance of our preventative programs, and also shows that Cocknoagan Pond is still considered an uninfested water body. We also did a survey of Barry Dexter Wilson. No invasive plants were found within Barry Dexter Wilson. We did that with volunteers as well from Barry Dexter Wilson Watershed Association, and that was a fantastic survey this past season. Anabessacook Lake and Cavazos County Lake, there were a few herbicide treatments throughout both of those water bodies this past season for targeting invasive milfoil. And those herbicide treatments did show what looks like high effectiveness with managing those infested areas within those 2 water bodies. And we are optimistic that going into next season, we'll see limited regrowth. So some of the challenges, there was a possible introduction of Eurasian water milfoil onto Woodbury Pond, which is something that we are concerned about going into this next season. A CBI, a courtesy boat inspector in another part of the state, actually discovered that those invasive plants on a motorized kayak. The boater said that their last water body was on Woodbury Pond. So that is something we're going to keep a diligent eye on. We did do a rapid response survey. We did not find any invasive plants in Woodbury, but we're going to need to keep a really close eye on that water body, specifically around the public boat launch there. New invasive species, European frogbit, was found on Anabessacook Lake. It was condensed to a very small, less than 0.1 acre area. That is another area that we are going to keep a close eye on going into next season. And we're hopeful that over multiple seasons, we'll be able to hopefully eradicate that species from Anabessacook. We also did discover new invasive species to the state of Maine, water chestnut in Jug Stream on the Cavazos County lake side of Jug Stream, so just south of the Anabessacook Dam. Only 3 plants and 5 nuts were found and removed. However, again, that's an area that we're going to have to keep a really close eye on, and hopefully eradication of that species is likely. And then, of course, just our need to stay on top of our preventative efforts, our early detection efforts on our uninfested water bodies, and continue surveying and managing those infested water bodies as we find invasive plants. I think we're in really good shape for this next season, especially with those herbicide treatments that were applied to Anabessacook and Cavazos Lake. We have a really good plan of attack for those invasive plants. So that's variable leaf water milfoil and Eurasian water milfoil that we are managing, that are invasive milfoils in our watershed. We have 2 survey teams. We have a roaming plant survey team and a Cavazos Lake plant survey team. New this year, our roaming plant survey team is also going to have a control component. our Cobbessy Lake team already had a control crew. So now we have 2 control crews that will be able to survey throughout the watershed and early detect and manage invasive plants as we find them. We're still going to be hiring a full crew of courtesy boat inspectors going into this next season. So that's 30 plus inspectors. Last year we had 37 inspectors, including a coordinator. So we're looking at probably around 30 to 40 inspectors that we'll be hiring this next season. So I think we're in really good shape. And we want to thank the town of Monmouth again for giving us that opportunity to chat about our season. And if anybody has any questions, more than happy to help answer them.
So it was a slight increase.
Yeah.
What's the increase?
Yeah, last year our request was $22,900. So it was about $2,100 increase. Yes,
Folks who call you watershed folks.
correct, yes.
So you have a good history in the past, talk about preventative maintenance, so to speak. One of the things I know in the past was watching construction development sites. Are you still actively included in those conversations?
Yes. So that's actually the Cobbessy Watershed District. So
Right.
we're the Friends of the Cobbessy Watershed. We're working mostly with aquatic invasive plant species. The Cobbessy Watershed District, they work with other water quality issues. They work with zoning issues as well. So that probably may have been,
So you don't get directly involved yourself with that?
no, not with the shoreline zoning, yeah.
And you've hired a man who kind of manages the enforcement of things going on in the lake?
That's a great question. That's actually Cobbessy County Lake Association. They hired a Cobbessy Lake manager who works with education and, just kind of drilling around, chatting with boaters, educating them on different water quality issues.
He's awesome.
Yeah. That's John.
Great asset.
Yeah.
Is sorry. The milfoil on Amascook Lake, will that potentially be resolved enough to reopen that boat launch on Wagon Road?
So there are no plans to reopen that boat launch. What is nice about the new boat launch that's opened is that it is a bigger area. So I think that there's really no reason to reopen the older boat launch. There is still an infestation that we are managing. So that herbicide treatment, we think, was effective to help us kind of get a jump start on management going into next season. However, there are concerns that there might be a seedbed. We don't necessarily, of course, our goal is always eradication. That is our very, very high goal, especially for the variable leaf milfoil in Anabesicook, which has been there now for over 10 years. So we don't anticipate that will be opening. And we do anticipate there will be some regrowth in that area going into next season. However, we do feel that we have the resources to manage that infestation better than we have been able to in the past. Yes.
Taking that question a little further, eradication, would you consider just a walk-in, with kayak or canoe boat launch in the old spot? That would be limited.
That's a great question. I think that would be really, really far in the future, that we'd be able to start considering that. Yeah, at this time, there is a surface use restriction in the area that will be renewed again next year, or this coming season. Yeah, so we would have to, that's something maybe we could consider if we get to the point where we don't need a surface use restriction in that area. I think that would be amazing.
Yeah, so I guess would like to see that stay on people's minds potentially in the future.
No, we always love public access, but yeah, that's a tough area just with how much invasive plant matter. Yeah.
One of the questions that I've asked each time, I think, or if I've asked a few people, is that with the boat rental company in town, have you done some outreach? And I had talked with the Cobbessy lake manager about this, because he didn't even realize there was a boat rental company right around the corner from the Bolano Stotts Falls.
Yeah.
To educate them about, because my fear is those boats are hopping in the lakes around in this area, and that they have some sort of ability to recognize things and remove them from the boat rentals?
That is a
That is really-
fantastic question.
That is a
And-
really good question.
It's actually funny that you mentioned that because that is actually something that we were looking at today. My team member, Caroline, who is a conservation programs
You
manager.
have a long walk there. It's a long walk to there. So-
Yeah, we've been discussing, reaching out to them
Yeah.
and, giving them some materials. There are a lot of things that we have, like winch stickers that could go on boats. Just little pamphlets about clean, drain, dry protocols and how that can help with, reducing the potential spread of invasives. So that is something that's certainly on our radar. We do talk with a number of different private companies, marinas, campgrounds. Clark Marine, for example, is one of the businesses that we do work with very closely. And we do provide them with materials such as that. So that's certainly something that we're looking into for this season.
It's been a big concern of mine since
Yeah.
they started doing that, because that can really leapfrog. Because
Yeah.
you never know where those boats are gonna end up week to week, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Yes.
Is it too much to ask for an anchor inspection? Because I think there's more weeds on anchors than there are on boats.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So our courtesy boat inspectors are trained to inspect not just the boats, but also fishing equipment, anchor lines, anchors. Yeah.
I boat these lakes probably more than most in this town and I've never been asked to see my anchor.
Interesting. Okay, well,
Yeah.
definitely give us a call and let us know if you see one of our courtesy boat inspectors that,
I'll be seeing everyone in the.
yeah. And if they're not asking to either check or have you check, the anchor or line, then we would like to know so that we can just kind of make sure that we're.
But it's part of their training. It's part of their training.
Yeah,
To
it
check
is.
that.
Correct, yeah.
I'm not talking just like the windlass one, I'm talking like mine's in my front cuddy, but it would be nothing just to go see.
Yeah, our courtesy boat inspectors are not allowed to touch people's personal equipment,
You
but
can
they
still-
are, they are trained to include the boat.
I know there'd be a lot of people irritated about it, but I think there's more weeds on anchors than there is on.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Yeah.
Do you guys have any other like public information at the boat launches to like maybe show people what invasive stuff is and kind of educate with like just visual pictures so people are like,
Yeah.
oh crap, that's
That's
what it
another-
is, so am I in.
Yeah, another fantastic question. So, actually, a piece of legislation just passed, that there's a little bit more leniency on what can be posted at boat launches. In the past, it was very strict about what could be posted. Some of the boat launches in the watershed did have some information, some didn't quite have enough information. So that is certainly something that, that we've been talking about, that our lake association partners have also been talking about. Yeah.
I take a picture of it, on my white floor and I send it to Sean, the lake manager, and say, what's this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or use lens.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And if you do find anything suspicious, when you're out there boating, fishing, and swimming on the lake, feel free to contact us, and we can also help with identification.
In the summertime, I got Sean on speed dial.
Yeah, great. That's awesome.
Yeah, Milano Stotts, Carolyn and Jasper. I think Jasper was the guy who found the,
Yeah, the curly pondweed. Yes, Jasper was the one who did find that
oh,
plant.
yes.
I haven't found anything invasive. But I'm also one.
That's.
Yeah.
And Calvary Watershed will have a meeting here, right here, tomorrow night. Calvary Watershed District, Bill Monaco
Yeah.
and Wendy Dennis will be here. If anybody wants to come to that.
Yeah, and they work, as I mentioned before, they work on kind of the other side of water quality. They work with the shoreline zoning issues, things like that. They have a lot of really good information. Any other questions? Awesome, thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, on to the department head reports.
Do we have to close it?
Close the public hearing.
I'm gonna close it for real this time. Maybe,
You guys,
maybe.
Colin.
Thank you. I make a motion to close the public hearing for fiscal year 27. So proposed budget. So
I'll second that.
Made a motion. I seconded it to close our public hearing. For time.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Thank you. Next are, yes, you guys.
Are we gonna let Tony back to the podium again? No.
I was gonna say, we should release him unless he has something else.
I gotta Okay.
Wow.
Feel better if I just sat down, you could see that. I was told to make this short. You got the paper in front of you. January, Monmouth Police Department handled 229 calls for service. It was a very busy month. We had 4 arrests in January. 1 arrest for operating after revocation, habitual offender status. 1 arrest for OUI. 2 arrests on warrants. And criminal charge of driving to endanger and another criminal charge for speeding 30 over. There were 3 juvenile arrests in January. 1 was for possession of firearm by a prohibited person in violation of court ordered release. And we had 2 juveniles arrested for unauthorized use of a motor vehicle and several other charges to go along with it. Saturday, we have the Jack's Traps Fishing Derby. So there may be some traffic rules on Main Street road intersection, just be patient. We expect probably a good turnout. There'll be cars parked on both sides of the road on Main Street, so go on Main Street on Saturday, just be cautious, watch pedestrians. Big family event, be a lot of kids running around, so just be aware of that. What I have. Other than the 25th at 5:30, we're having the meeting for the PD consolidation right here in this building.
I have a random question. Is the PD gonna do a woman's firearm safety course again? I know you said you did one last year.
Gentlemen that we have that did that has moved on to winter. But Kirk and I have talked about sponsoring another one for both the Monmouth Winthrop area, because I've had a lot of people ask me about that.
And it could be open to people from other communities?
Yeah, yep.
But Mark, what was was that the one that Kirk did last year at the Fish and Game, or was that a different women's firearm? Because there was a specific women's one, and then there was the Pistol Club.
There was a specific women's one. I don't think the police department had anything to do with it. I think that was run by the Fish and Game. But they would certainly be interested in doing another one because we actually purchased some firearms to keep at the club for that event. So, yeah, geared towards the use by women because they're smaller, easier to handle, smaller grips and stuff on them.
I have some friends who are asking, so I said I would ask.
Yeah, I can help you with that information too. Through the Fish and Game, that is.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I did what for you. Just 2 short ones. So, problem's been alleviated. Finally got a boat. Right now we got plenty of salt. Second thing is everybody's friend I'm already getting calls on is the yellow, orange pulses. Those will be going up sooner than later. I'm gonna take a look at gravel roads tomorrow. I may put them up before the weekend. Paved roads probably next week. We got a lot of frost this year, roads. So that's all I had.
And it seems that you got your part for the sidewalk machine.
Oh, yeah. So we had a part made.
Oh, yeah.
So that was about, $500. It would have cost us somewhere around 5,600 if we'd our pot had to come out of Canada, so. Getting it was gonna be a problem, so, yeah, we
Went out yesterday.
we worked around that. Yes, he was
Yeah.
out yesterday. We
Yeah.
salted the sidewalks. Sun this time of year
Exactly.
is our friend. It's gonna snow, Friday night.
No,
so
it's
we'll
not.
be kind of hurrying Saturday morning to allow for the kids. I talked to Sean today, 400 kids already signed up, so it's plan on a busy event, so. Our goal is to get in and get out.
Yeah.
Signed up for what, Tony?
The Jack
Jack
Track,
Trail.
Oh, yeah.
400 kids.
My pool house is available, just in case anybody wanted to stay in there. Just saying. 10 feet from the water.
Was there any?
Yeah, well, no, I just was defending you on my walk. People saying, what, they give up on the sidewalks? I said, no, we didn't. We had a part broken. So,
Yeah.
and there you were the next day, so. Yep, that's wonderful.
So that was good news.
Yeah,
Yeah, good.
that was all good
one.
news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good news.
It's 8:00.
Somewhere.
Well, Justin.
Mark is looking very tan.
Yeah, Mark looks like he's been out the sun.
A little, yeah, a little bit. Are we on to select board reports yet?
Well, we're waiting on Justin for
waiting on
his
Justin?
report.
Okay.
Do you want to do the select board reports?
Sure.
And then we can go back to Justin?
Yeah.
Okay. So the only thing I wanted to mention was good luck to the Monmouth boys and girls basketball team. The Monmouth boys won their quarterfinal, the semi today, and they will be playing in the regional final probably Saturday, and then the girls have their game tomorrow morning. So good luck to the Monmouth Academy basketball teams. Do you want to go backwards now to Justin? We'll go backwards.
Oh, okay. No, I think the thing I just kind of wanted to mention was our two sort of property purchase things are moving along. We think we'll have a closing date for those quickly, so we can get those kind of set aside. I wasn't here a lot last week because I was on vacation. Trying to think. I had myself. I think I had a couple lot to you guys this week. Wendy reached back out to the engineer for the Anabesicook Dam project, but we haven't heard back. We're both kind of not really sure where that is. And I'm gonna try to pick up the idea of the trail maps again. We had a vendor, somebody that we thought that could help us get those maps made up and put them on our GIS. So as we keep kind of expanding our trail maps, we'll have something to kind of give people. I'd like to use our GIS system if possible, just because we have it, so. I think that's it, unless you have any questions for me. Do you have any?
So the trail maps that we discussed, are they going to include only trails immediately in town, or will they include ski/snowshoe trails as well, or where do you think?
When we talked about it, we were gonna try to be as inclusive as we could. So, I mean, I think it would be nice to, it'd be a nice way to designate, which ones are snowmobile, trail, because sometimes snowmobiles can go somewhere, but no one else can.
Yeah.
So it'd be nice to have them
Yeah.
kind of color coded somehow, or so that it was recognizable what it was. I'd like to include all.
Walking and,
Yeah.
because there's, it's school vacation week, but the cross-country street ski trails are, because we have snow this year, and the snowshoe trails have been getting a lot of use, so it's been fun to see.
So is Whittier Woods.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Yeah,
So-
right.
And I've been making sure that the trail behind Cumberland, someone goes through with their snowshoes,
Oh, good. Oh, good. I didn't even think about that. That's great.
the intermission trail.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Actually, the Conservation Commission has reached out to Dennis. And we're probably going to be working together to plant a row of blueberries
Oh,
along the wood line.
yeah,
Oh. Yeah, behind Comstock.
great, great.
Or my basket when they're right.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mark, do you have anything?
No, the only question I had was on the Grover Street property, but Justin just kind of alluded to that it's moving along fine and yeah, that was all I was wondering about.
So can I ask a question on the Grover Street? Do I have to wait for public comment?
It's on the agenda too,
Yeah,
so
it's on the
whatever.
agenda too, so.
So next would be, do you have any more?
I don't have any, so you have something for,
I'll be doing the next 4 meetings via Zoom, but I'll be here and you can reach me via email.
The next 4?
Yeah, because the next one, I'm in Hawaii, and then the next couple, the way it lines up, I'll be in Myrtle Beach, so. Or maybe it's next 3. It's the next 3, not 4. For you.
Public comment.
So once you acquire Grover Street property, what will you do with it?
Do you want me to answer? I think the plan right now is to demolish the house and fill in the.
So how are you gonna do that if the bridge is so frail?
We can still get across it. It's just that to replace it is very expensive. So the idea is, so it's going to be a multi-step. So when we remove the home, the bridge will have no necessary abutters. So we'll have to go through the formal process to discontinue that as a public street. So therefore, that road will, under normal process, when you discontinue it, it splits to the abutters on each side. So we wouldn't then have any interest in anything other than that landlocked parcel. But at the same time, we're working with with a right-of-way person to figure out if there's a way to access it. Because if it can be accessed from other means, I think the town would entertain selling it to somebody to do something with it, or just sell it off to pieces to all of the abutters all around it so that it could just be put back on the tax rolls. But
Does it abut the other fire station?
it does. Little piece of it. But that building is not a town-owned property, so we don't have any, no, we don't have.
I was gonna say, why couldn't you just go, okay.
We're working with a couple of landowners down there to see if we can get a right-of-way to get access to that house.
But wouldn't that be a better, like, you would think somebody has some interest in the town would have more opportunity to let us go.
Yes. We're in this, I don't know exactly how it's set up, but it's a 501, it's a nonprofit group that owns that building.
We own it, the firemen themselves.
Right, okay, yeah. I'm not sure exactly the structure, but it's not owned by the town.
Okay, good for public comment. Next is to approve the purchase of the Grover Street property using TIF funds.
So you've already approved the purchase and sale on this one and the next, and on the next one. But TIF funds need your approval to be spent. So I'm basically just asking you to authorize me to basically complete the sale using money from the TIF account.
I make a motion to approve the purchase of 7 Grover Street using TIF funds.
I'll second that. Oh,
Mark, second. Okay. So there's a motion by Chris, second by Mark, to approve the purchase of 7 Grover Street using TIF funds. All those in favor?
Yes.
Thank you. And next is to approve the purchase of map 37 lot 18-2. It's the Wilson Pond Boat Launch parking area, again using TIF funds.
I make a motion to approve the purchase of map 37 lot 18-2, the Wilson Pond Boat Launch parking for using TIF funds.
Second?
Okay, so, Chris has made a motion, Mark has seconded it to approve the purchase of that Wilson Pond boat launch area using TIF funds.
Doug, I think there's a question.
All those in favor?
There's a
Wait a minute.
question.
You have a question about that?
How come we can use TIF fund for Wilson Pond, but we can't use it for a scale at the dump?
TIF funds have very limited purpose. So the Wilson Pond boat launch, we are using a provision in there that has to do with trails. And we're basically saying that somebody could put a snowmobile on there or something and get to a trail network.
So if we put a snowmobile trail through the dump?
No.
There is one.
There are prohibitions about doing, what we refer to as general fund. You can't just do governmental purposes with TIF funds, because otherwise we would TIF the entire town and make it all TIF funds.
We'll make it a snowmobile.
There you go. You have to get creative sometimes on how you use this stuff.
I know there was an issue with what was being the amount 2025. Is that,
Yep.
I get all ironed out?
Yes, so the owner agreed to bring it down to the appraisal amount. So it's 10,000 for us and 10,000 for the state.
I think it's a tremendous purchase.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I give the guy credit for being willing to even offer it to us and be willing to participate.
Can you divulge who that was or no?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I know his name right here. No, but you can look.
What's that?
And there's a snowmobile drill across there.
Is his name Irwin?
I don't know.
Doesn't matter, I just
You
want.
would probably know more of.
It's, is it Sally, is it related to Sally, Bonnie Grant's daughter? Sally?
I could look if you give me a second. I can tell you.
It's not that
Connor.
big of a deal.
I don't know.
just wanted to-
I don't know, really.
Yes.
I don't know any
It's,
properties.
So if you look at the map, that road that runs up on that kind of splits that. So this is just the little piece on the corner. That's all he owns there. But if you go up that road, he owns a much larger piece up there and he's getting rid of all of it. So I think whoever is going to end up buying that will probably turn it in. It's a large parcel that I think will probably get turned into a subdivision. But this piece is unbuildable and it's because it's too close to the water and all that stuff. So we're really the only
Yeah, sure. No,
viable user.
I was aware of it. I was
Yep.
just wondering, like, again, he could have asked all he wanted and you almost would have had to go with it if you really wanted it.
True.
He kind of went out of his way to help the town.
Absolutely. He did. He did.
So there was Chris made a motion. Mark seconded it to approve the purchase of this piece of property, using TIF funds. All those in favor?
Yes.
Thank you. And next is to consider reappointing.
It's a question about the sale of two properties. You sell the Grover, when you discontinue the Glover Street property, I know some people that would want to sign again, but this is history. That was Grover Street ice cream. That's how I got there. I know the family would probably like to have that sign. I know that's a small thing, but while we're on it.
I know, good thing to mention.
Let me know when,
It'll take us a while because it'll actually have to go to a town meeting, which will be like next year, probably. Yeah, it's a process.
thank you.
So next is to consider reappointing that guy. Joe Bolano Stott to the Conservation Commission.
I make a motion to reappoint Joel Bolano Stott to the Conservation Commission.
I'll second that.
So Chris has made a motion. Kayla has seconded it to reappoint Joe Bolano Stott to the Conservation Commission. All those in favor?
Most controversial item of the night.
Make more discussion on that.
And next is to, for warrant number, whatever warrant.
We gave up on the numbers.
Good hand. Should have printed this off. There we go. Yeah. I did today.
This is what we do now.
No bills this week.
No bills.
This total.
Rewrite this.
Remember when I said that the probably told me about 30 of us.
They never fail to send this.
They never fail to send that.
I got it. Give me a second here. Andrew Scoggin Bank, this is the first repayment on the tax anticipation note. We took $200,000. Baker Electric Yard Light Repairs, Public Works, $1,192. Blue Rock Earthworks Materials Transport for the transfer station, $2,170. Central Maine Power, $5,749, various accounts. Dennis K. Burke, gasoline, $1,957. Fabian Oil, propane, Public Works, $1,060.98. Thermal Industries, waste disposal, $2,123. Integrity Homes Real Estate Group, $1,000. That's for the property you just approved of, pay the broker. Let's see here. Maine Equalization Consultants, the assessing agent, $2,437. Maine Waste Recoveries, that's the where we send our trash, $4,430. Maine Waste Energy tipping fee for January, $7,033. McGee Tire Service, trash trailer tires, $3,119. Monmouth Museum, Inc., $2,826. Apple Fest expenses. New England Salt Company, $9,606. Rinaldi Energy Fuel for the Public Works, $5,873. Almost done. State of Maine Bureau of Motor Vehicles, $3,796. State of Maine Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife, $6,030. For a warrant total of $269,754.20. No school.
Cheap month.
Yeah, there's no school on that one, so.
School this week.
Exactly.
Motion.
I make a motion to approve fiscal year 25-26 warrant of February 18th, 2026.
I will second that.
Oh, Chris made a motion. Taylor seconded it to approve the warrant for fiscal year 25-26, February 18th, 26. All those in favor?
Yes.
Thank you.
I make a motion we adjourn.
Yeah, I just want to say, if anybody would wants to sign my nomination papers.